ready. All right, I'm Dusty, this is Keegan, and we are our cozy corner on Whatnot. We are putting together a tutorial on how to put together an OBS system, which will allow you a lot more freedom in your streaming. So this is part 3 of our video. If you've not seen part 1 and part 2, make sure you check for those links at the end of this video. Part 1 was the items that you'll need to set up. Part 2 was the setup. And part 3 is the backend setup. So in this video, we're gonna walk through how to set up your OBS system to be able to function with Whatnot, how to connect it to Whatnot, and how to put together all your things like motion graphics, your microphones, set up your desktop audio, and all the other fun things that OBS allows you to do. So hopefully you guys enjoy. If you get to the end of this video and got some questions, make sure to leave it in the comments and we'll answer those. We need to do, but the first thing when you get in the computer is definitely to download OBS.
OBS Studio. All right, and obviously depending on whatever platform you have, you'll want it for that platform. So it should be Windows, right?
Yep. So most of you, if you followed the PC link that we talked about in the first video, you're going to be on a Windows, which is downloading the installer that Keegan is clicking on right now. This will download OBS onto your computer. OBS Studio is where you're going to make all the edits for what you're hoping to see on your live stream on Whatnot. So here's OBS, fresh download. And this is the computer that we showed you guys the setup. We are setting this up for our second stream. So everything that you see us doing here is going to be setting this up for our own stream. So hopefully we don't miss anything along the way. As always, if we do, just ask questions. We'll make another video. So right now, this is going to show you all the download information on here. All of that is set up through Whatnot, and we'll show you guys that later on. But we're going to get all the apps that we need downloaded first, and then we'll walk through each one step by step. So the next one we're going to download is going to be EOS webcam, and that is going to turn your camera into a webcam. So again, this is for individuals who bought the Canon camera that we highlighted in our first video. If you got a different one, you are going to have to use a different utility to create your camera into a webcam. But this is what you want if you got the Canon camera that we specified in the first video. This is the one that we use, is the Canon 90D, and this is going to be the walkthrough of what you need for that. So the Canon EOS Webcam Pro that Keegan is downloading right now is going to be the software that you're going to use to tell your camera to be a webcam for your live stream.
Okay, so when you open this file, you'll have to run the setup application first, and it'll walk you through it.
Yep. Okay. So that is the download for the EOS webcam. We will reset the computer once all of these are downloaded. That way they're all installed. But we're also going to install the Stream Deck software, and that will allow you to update all of your buttons and functionality on the Stream Deck. Again, that's provided you purchase that. If you guys have not already watched our first video that walks through all the pieces that we're utilizing to make this OBS system go round, and a Stream Deck is a big part of that. So make sure that you download this software, and that will help you to customize your Stream Deck. Yep, that's the right one. So depending on when you watch this video, this may or may not be the same version, but you will want to download the latest version of the Stream Deck app. And then it will pop up just like this. You'll walk through the same prompts, and then you'll be able to download the program onto your desktop. And when you get done with the install, this is what it's going to look like. This is the set functionality of the Stream Deck. All of these things are adjustable. This is just the main splash of what they do with some functionality built in. We are going to adjust all of these to be different functions based on your streaming platform. For us as Whatnot, we don't use as much files and scene changes as other apps might. So ours is going to look a little bit different than somebody who is, say, streaming on Twitch or YouTube. So now that we have all 3 of our main programs downloaded, we will restart the computer, and that will allow us to refresh all these apps. Once we get them all back up, we'll start walking through piece by piece how we put all these things together so they communicate.
All right. Okay, so just restarted the computer. First thing we're going to look at is the EOS Webcam Utility Pro here. We do recommend to utilize all the features in your camera. It's going to ask you if you want a subscription, which is, I believe, is it called the Pro subscription? I think it is. Either way, you'll want it. It'll give you access to increase the quality of the video settings. The default is 720p with 30 frames per second. Whatnot does cap it at 30 frames, but we did find by switching it on here to 60 frames and 1080p that it did increase the quality pretty dramatically. So this is what it'll look like when you open it up. And we'll plug in a clip of kind of what the camera settings are and kind of how it looks on our end here. Okay, so we'll walk through the settings that we have here. Just go down this list. Obviously, this is our subscription. These are the video settings that I just went over. So if you just want to mimic whatever we have here, that'll work good, but I'll kind of describe what we're doing. This you will want to change for sure. You'll find that the camera will time out when it's inactive, and sometimes even when it's recording, it'll recognize it as inactive, and you'll just have the camera randomly shut off. So you want to make sure that this is on never. We don't do anything with the hotkeys here. There's no wireless cameras that you'll use. The Stream Deck is its own thing, so we won't need to control the camera with it. And then nothing here with the dynamic driver.
And I think there's a couple more video settings if you scroll down further. So you'll want to click the never use lower resolution. If you have another software program or something that's utilizing space, it may want to kick down your resolution on your camera. So click it to never so that it has priority over the other things that are running on your computer. Okay, so we're going to walk through our Stream Deck a little bit. This is what your Stream Deck should look like here when you start to get it set up. So we're going to walk through a few buttons. I didn't want to go through the whole entire thing with you. But in order to get it set up the way that you want to, you need to download the Stream Deck application, which you should already have. When you bring that up, it's going to look like this with a ton of functionality on here. You can do different scene changes. We have some sound effects built in here, and we have our motion graphics in here as well. You also want to link this up with your OBS. You do that by going into settings and plugins. And when you click the plus on here, it's going to bring up this web page here. And on there, there is a link right here that says open in Stream Deck for OBS Studio. When you do that, let me bring this down. It is going to add this little button in that I'm highlighting right now. And that's going to allow you some functionality on here. The main one that we're looking for is this scene button. This scene button will automatically, so if we drag this over and put it on here, it's automatically going to show the scenes that I have set up in our OBS. You can see those two scenes are right here. So any scenes that you set up, if you want to be right back scene, our main scene is here, a just talking scene, whatever you want to put in here will show up on there as a functional scene to change to. So you'll see on here, if I press the scene button, we don't have anything set up in our Be Right Back right now, but I'll swap to that. The screen will go black. That's supposed to be a scene here. We're going to set that up in a second and right back to our main scene just by pushing these buttons here. So that's the same deal as you're streaming. If you need to take a break, you need to swap a palette out, you can swap to this Be Right Back scene, which you can change to whatever you want. For us, we're just going to upload just a random scene to it. So we're going to go to our Be Right Back here. We're going to add in a media source. We're going to name that our Be Right Back. Apparently it won't let me do that because we already have that name used. So on here, we are going to browse for it and find the one that you are going to put as your scene. You want to make sure this is going to be toggled on every single time that you create a new scene that you're going to put on your Stream Deck. You want to get rid of that and then start it up like that. So now every single time, so we'll swap back and forth here on our Stream Deck. So that's our main scene. When we click our Be Right Back now, it's going to swap to this Be Right Back scene. And you can put any words or anything that you want up there, and it will show that scene. So we are going to look mainly at the Stream Deck here and how to set these up to do what they're supposed to do. This OBS Studio allows you to use some of the functionality that is automatically built in. However, when you create all these buttons for random sound effects and random graphics, you're going to have to make what is called a hotkey to create those, and then you're going to have to put that in both the Stream Deck and inside your OBS so that they communicate, so they know when you push this button, it's supposed to do a specific thing. So I'm going to walk you guys through how to do that here. So you're going to close out of your OBS Studio. We're no longer going to need that. And you're going to go to the Systems tab. On the Systems tab, there is one that is called a hotkey on here. If you want a new hotkey, you just drag this over and put it right up just like that. So we're going to recreate one of these scenes so you can kind of see what that looks like. So we've got a banana dance scene right here. And we're going to recreate that one right over here. So in order to create that graphic, you want to first start in your sources. So if we scroll all the way down here, you're going to see my banana dance ones are right here. Something that we're known for on our stream. So this is the one that I created. If you click it, it'll have the properties that we just went over for the motion graphic for the Be Right Back scene. You can browse and put whatever file you want that to be inside here. Make sure you uncheck this box and then click OK. And it'll create that scene for you, and you can also see that scene on here. I don't need any audio in this scene, so I uncheck the audio on there. If you do want audio with it, let's say you got a motion graphic that has a fun sound effect or a movie quote or whatever, you can leave that on and adjust your audio to whatever you want it to be. There's no audio for this one, so we're just checking that off. So once you have your scene created on here, you want to create your hotkey for it over here. So all you do is drag over this hotkey button to wherever you want it to be. You can change the photo on here. So I have a file on here of all of our different Stream Deck images. So here's all the ones that we're using. And so I can take the same banana one and put it as a profile picture, and I can name it banana on here. And then what you want to look at, so we're going to get rid of this one. We're just going to go off of the one that we have up here. Click to assign a hotkey. This is the really important part that you don't want to miss. Otherwise, when you push your buttons on here, so right now I can click the banana button all day and it's not going to do anything for us. It's just going to give us an error message. So what you want to do is correlate the hotkey. So in order to do that, you can assign any hotkey on here. Once you click it, whatever your next keystroke is what your hotkey is going to be. So we're going to say this is a Q. So the Q is set on here now. So anytime that I click the Q on the keyboard, it will automatically do what I want it to do on OBS. So then we go into OBS and we go into settings. On our settings, we're going to go to hotkeys. And then you got to remember what the name was for the one that we're trying to find a hotkey for. So this is our banana one. And you want to put the same hotkey under restart. And this is going to be the same for everything that you do and set up on here. And then apply it. Click OK. And now when we click our button on here, let's see if we can find the right one. Our banana guy jumps right up there. So that correctly set up this button on here to do what we want it to do on our OBS. So that sets that up, and as soon as this is done, it will jump off the screen. Remember how I said you had to make sure when you were creating a new media source, let's just say test here, there's this button that's toggled on right here. We want to get rid of that so it doesn't continue to loop that. We also don't want it to loop. Otherwise, you're just, as soon as you push the button, it's going to just keep coming back up over and over again. All right, so let's get rid of this one. So that's how you set up the buttons. It is the same exact way for all of the buttons that you have on here. So if we want to set up the next one with a hotkey, we'll click on here, click a keystroke on your keyboard. We're going W, and that's our Banana Dance 2. So we'll go back in here, go to our settings, our hotkeys, and then we scroll down until we see our Banana Dance 2 and go to the restart. Click our W in there, apply it, and click OK. So now we should be able to click this second one, and there he is again. And you can always click two at the same time if you want. and that will do the same exact thing. So then you go down the list the same exact way for every single one of your keystrokes that you have on here, and just pick a different keystroke for each one. Once you have them all set up on your OBS and on your Stream Deck, all of these will be functional. Again, for your scene changes, it's a little bit different because that functionality is automatically built in by this plugin that you put on here. So as soon as you pull a scene over and you find that scene on the drop down, that's automatically going to happen. You do not have to build in a hotkey. But for everything else, you are going to build it in as a system hotkey that you just drag over here, you name it, you put a profile on there, and then you change your hotkey. So hopefully that helps explain how to set up the Stream Deck. When it's all done, it should look like what you see on our main camera right now. So all of your buttons can be separated in whichever way makes the most sense for you. We separate all of ours, so our motion graphics are over here. There's a split in between. All of our sound effects are here, and then all of our scene changes are up top. You can set it up any way that you want. All of your emojis or whatever you use, whatever you name them, can all be yours as well. We went over this a little bit, but to set up a different scene, you want to make sure that you're in the right main scene. So if we go to our Be Right Back, you're going to notice there's nothing set up here. And I actually didn't set this up right. We actually want this to loop so that it automatically stays on there. So this graphic will just continue to go over and over and over again. But there's no added scenes on here. I'm not using any motion graphics. Generally, when we're in our Be Right Back scene, our host is moving a pallet or going to the bathroom, taking a break. So we don't really need any hotkeys built in here. So save yourself the work unless there's something you specifically want in this area. Just leave this one plain. So your Be Right Back with whatever graphic you want it to be. However, on your main scene, you need to set up all of these different audio and visual properties on here. In order to do that, you just click this button and add a media source. When you add a media source, you can name it whatever you want. We'll put test in there for right now, just so you can see it. In here, you're going to browse for whatever file you want. So this was the one that we used for our Be Right Back scene. But we have all of ours saved in a file for motion graphics that are in here. And we have all of our ones for our sound effects are saved inside here. So find whatever file that you want, put it inside here, and then make sure you uncheck this and click OK. So we're not actually going to save this one. It'll save it anyways. But that's how you set up the different sound effects and scenes that you want for your Stream Deck. I'm going to take a second just to walk through these settings. There is a OBS quick setup in the back side of Whatnot under our show tools. Just so you guys are aware of where these are at, it is very straightforward in here. Walk through these step by step when you first download your OBS. So the first portion of the settings are talking about getting a WebSocket server set up. This is under your tools section. You go to WebSocket server settings, you enable it, make sure it's 4455, and you set up your own password. You can auto-generate a password if you want, but it's much easier if you have your own password set up, and you can put it by your desktop so all of your streamers know what your password is to connect on Whatnot. So then you click apply on here. That portion is then done. We already had it applied, so I'm just going to click OK. The next portion on here is to create a new profile on OBS. You do this under your scene collections. You can create a new profile on there, and then you need to update these settings as well. So you create a new profile, and then we're going to go under settings. Under settings, you're going to see lots of different options, but there are specific ones that they want to make sure that you have. This will help your connection to be better and run more efficiently. So here are those settings that we talked about. So we're going to go into OBS and we're going to look at these. So they want you in output. They want to make sure that you're in advanced, FM 264, CBR, your bit rate, keyframe intervals, and usage. Again, a lot of these don't mean much to you guys. They don't mean a ton to me, but these are the settings that we need in place for this connection to work well. This portion down here in the stream settings is also very, very important. So when we go to stream, we need to make sure that we swap our service to WIP. You do not need to put any of this stuff in here. Make sure that this is set to WIP and apply it and click OK. Whenever you click this connect button, this server and bearer token are going to automatically generate. So the only things that we need to adjust are our WebSocket server setting, creating our own password, and then setting up a new profile with this information in our OBS under our output. Once you have all of those set up on here, you can connect on the show tools portion of your homepage on Whatnot. Okay, so we just went through the Stream Deck and how to set that up. We have all of our sound effects and our motion graphics set up in here. We walked through that a little bit, but everything you want to create, you just click this little plus button here and you can put in all these different captures. So if you want multiple cameras on here, you can do different video capture devices. All of your media sources, which is going to be your motion graphics and your sounds, will be under media sources. If you're gaming and you're here because you're a Twitch streamer, you can do a game capture, your browser. There's a whole bunch of other things you can put in here. So you can make it as complicated as you want, but the setup is exactly the same. You're going to click on it. You're going to add that source, whether that be a file or a web page or a video capture device that's already on your desktop. You'll add that to it and it'll show up on here. If at any point you're adding something, so we have a ticker that goes across the top of the screen up here. We get a lot of size requests and we do all random polls. So we have one that comes across that says all random polls, please no size requests. If there's ever a function on here that you don't want visible, you can always turn it off. So you can turn it off on here if you're worried about somebody touching it or doing something with it. If you've got several employees, you can always lock these so they don't get deleted by accident. And then over on your mixer is where you're going to have all of your audio functionality. Again, most of our graphics don't have any sort of sound, but this is an actual sound button. So as soon as we click that on our Stream Deck, you're going to see that that audio shows up on here. To adjust the audio, you're just going to bring this up or down. So if you see, you put it here and you start your audio and any of it is starting to touch this orange or red here, it's probably going to be way too loud. Most of our audios are going to be down around 40 to 45 here. But we're going to go through a test stream here shortly and kind of show you how to adjust there. So you can go on, do a test stream, hear what it's going to sound like, and adjust all these properties ahead of time. There's two of them that we want to go through with you here, and they are going to be a standard when you create your profile on here, when you go to create a new scene. So you can go in here under your scene collections and create a new one. That's what you're going to do at the beginning. We already walked through that. We have our two scenes here. So there's going to be two standard things that are going to be on here. You're going to have your mic and auxiliary, which is automatically going to be set up to be your default. So if you want to adjust that, you can go to your properties and change it to whatever you want. If there's a specific microphone or something else. Ours, we have our wireless mics that we talked about in our first video, the DJI. If you don't know what those are, you can click back to part 1 of this video series and you'll be able to see a link to those. There will also be a link down below. So whatever you have for your default mic is going to automatically show up on here, and you can adjust up and down on here. If you have more than one audio you would like to bring in, you can always add another audio capture in here, right up here, and it will create another one of these that you can adjust however you want. If you have people on your stream pretty consistently, you want separate mics for them at separate volumes, you can always put that functionality in there. And then the same deal. You can adjust your volume up and down on there. The other one that we're looking at here is going to be your desktop audio. This will automatically show up in here as well. Again, you can rearrange all of these however you would like them. Right now, ours is kind of a mess because we're just recreating all this stuff. So desktop audio shows nothing right now. This is one of the greatest functionalities of having the OBS system, is that you can directly put in your sound to your computer, and your listeners are going to hear that directly as though they're listening to their favorite playlist on Spotify or YouTube Music. And it's a really, really nice add-on to this. It doesn't like if you're streaming through an iPhone right now, it's hearing you and it's hearing your audio, and it gets really messy. So this will create a really, really nice audio source. So whatever you're playing on your desktop here, so we have YouTube Music on. If you click play on any of these, so we're playing that one right now. It's actually set up through a different audio source. So if you clicked play on your desktop, ours is set up through a speaker right now so we can hear what's going on. It will show up on here, and again, you can adjust your volume up and down to whatever you would like it to be. So that's a little bit about the standard ones that are on here. All right, Keeg just adjusted this, so we'll see if this plays on here now. So we'll play that. We'll go back to our OBS, and there you have your desktop audio. Again, you can adjust this up or down to whatever you want, and this will be whatever is playing on your computer. Keep in mind that if you are using this computer at the same time that somebody is streaming, whatever you play is going to be through your audio. So that's why we have a designated computer and screen for this, so that whatever we're playing on our desktop here is going to be ported right into our stream. So right now we got this music video playing. That's what everybody is going to be hearing on the desktop audio. So just make sure you know whatever ones you open, or if there's ads, if you don't pay for an ad free, we do, but we don't have it logged in right now. I would definitely recommend having ad free, otherwise your listeners or your followers are going to be listening to ads throughout the day. So I would avoid that. So those are two of the things that are automatically going to be set up for you, and you can always adjust. Again, you can go in the properties here. If you want it to be from a different source, you're more than welcome to do that. If you want to plug in an iPod or whatever you want to do, you can change that. We'd like to have ours on the desktop. It makes it easier for each streamer who comes in to adjust it to whatever playlist they would like it to be, so they can have their own vibe. All right. So that one's good. Let's, okay, so next, Envato.
Keep rolling, or if you want to do the test, or do you want to do the Envato first, or you want to do the test stream?
Yeah, so we can do the Envato. All right, so I'm just going to walk you through part of what we have in our OBS, like we had talked about, and our push buttons, is the ability to have what are called motion graphics happening on your screen. It adds a really, really fun aspect to your stream. You can personalize them to be your thing. So this dancing banana has turned into a thing for our stream. They love it. We use banana emojis all the time. It's a really nice ad, and we have a couple different versions of it that are set up on our Stream Deck, which we talked about earlier. There's lots of different programs that you can utilize to get these motion graphics. The one that we utilize the most is called Envato. So up here is the webpage. We will also link that in. You can get yourself a subscription. There are some free elements, but we use it enough that we have the annual plan with them. It allows us to download as many as we want. We can also add them to a collection. We can show other ones, save them for later. So you just type in what you're looking for, and you'll get a bunch of different videos. And what you're looking for is anything with a PNG or blank background. You're not going to want to utilize something like this because that will show up over your entire screen. So make sure that you find motion graphics in here. They will be under the stock videos, so that when you click them on your stream, like you see here, the only portion that it's taking up is where it's actually at, instead of it being a square box that takes up your whole screen. So make sure that you're getting the right file format. If you go in to upload one of these, like we had talked about, you go in, you create this file. It shows up like this. You put in the file that you would like. You get rid of the restart. You save it. If you save it, it's going to pull up just like this, where it'll automatically start. And you can drag this guy around to wherever you would like him to be on your screen. So if you pull him up and all of a sudden half your screen is covered by a picture, you probably had the wrong file type. But you can literally put them wherever you want. Like we have a hand one that points to that banner I was talking about earlier. You can position this wherever you want it to be. You can angle them sideways, so you can adjust how it looks on here if you want a different angle on it. So there's a lot of adjustability to that, and you can also size them. You can make them whatever size you want. So if you really want a giant banana, you can go like this, and he'll take up half your screen. So a lot of adjustability there, and makes it a lot of fun. You can also get motion graphics that are going to be effects. So you could get a border around here, or you could get a follower count, or any other ones that you find in here. Envato is just one of our favorites that we found. We've searched through a lot of different ones. If you have experience in Adobe, or you have someone on your staff that has experience creating motion graphics, it's something that we're teaching ourselves right now. It does open the doors to a lot of different functionality where you can pull a picture or something else off a line and you can turn that into a motion graphic, or you can draw it yourself if you have somebody that's really good at art. So there's a lot of options out there to create motion graphics like the one you see on the screen. But Envato, again, we're not getting any kickback by recommending them. That's just the one that we happen to find and like the most. So this is where we get our files from. If you don't have a large staff or any graphic designers with you like us, this is a great place to start. It's a great place to find different things that are fun. There's funny, there's cool, there's elegant ones, like we have a welcome one for when new individuals come into our stream. That looks a little bit nicer, and then we have goofy other ones on here too. So make it your own, make it fun, but Envato is definitely a good place to start your search for those. Okay, what's next on our list?
We definitely have to do the test stream. That could be the last thing. I don't think there's really anything that needs to be, I mean, I'm pretty sure we got everything covered. I couldn't think of anything else. Yeah.
Okay, I will work on the test stream here then.
I'll pop up in front of the camera here for you so I can just show stuff in the meantime.
Okay, sounds good.
Maybe not Cheez-Its. Bring a shoe and some items.
Okay,
I
ready?
won't say anything, I'll just do
Cool.
the visuals.
Okay, so once you get everything set up, as you can see, we've got all of our items set up in here for our motion graphics, for our microphone, for our desktop audio. We've got all of our sound effects set up. We have our different scene changes set up. Once you feel like you have everything where you want it to be, your volumes will still work on, but as long as you've got all of your stuff set up, you set up your hotkeys like we had talked about in your settings here, and made sure everything is all ready to go on your Stream Deck, then you're ready to test this out. And in order to test it out, again, this is geared towards Whatnot because that's where we stream. You can set up test streams on any other platform. If you're streaming on Twitch or YouTube or any other place, you can set it up, but this one is geared towards our Whatnot family. So this is how you set it up. You can name it whatever you want, start the time whenever you want. This is on I started in the card category before we got into the women's fashion. So this is in my original account, my Fire Fan Breaks here. So we're under football breaks. You can upload a thumbnail and all those things if you want, but you don't really need to. The biggest thing that you need to remember to do is swap to private, only discoverable through sharing. Schedule your show. Okay. We gotta adjust our time. Let's go to 1 o'clock. This time doesn't really matter as long as it is in the past. Schedule our show. So we got our shows scheduled up here. These are our past shows. These are our upcoming shows. So that's super important. So in here, you are all set with your show. So then you go to Show Tools right here. So in Show Tools, this is where we're going to create our connection to our OBS. So over here on the side, it has some instructions. And on those instructions, it has a first time setup instructions here. It walks you through every step that you need to take in order to get your OBS and Whatnot to connect together and communicate. So part of that is going through and setting up what they call a WebSocket server. You're going to make sure that the port is correct, and you're going to make your own password. When you create your own password, you're going to put that created password in right here in order to connect. After that, you're going to set up your profile, which we already did. So just like we had talked about earlier, you go inside here, you go to your scene collections, you make a new profile, and that profile is going to show up here. It also gives you some ideas of what constraints you should have on your setup. So we've got all of our settings here as we go down further. So there's a whole list here of items that you need to go through. None of this is rocket science. Walk through every single step on here. And we've walked through most of these already in our video, so I'm not going to rehash these out. But make sure that your socket's set up correctly. Make sure you got a profile, and it's also set up with these settings right here. And again, it's going to walk you through exactly where to find those settings. So when you go back here, you have the correct settings on here. So this is your WebSocket server. Here are your settings for your stream. So you need to make sure that when you go to each of these, it is set up correctly the exact way that they want it to. And these are already all set up in here. So again, settings and tools, WebSocket server settings. So those are the two that you need to make sure are done correctly. You will know if you didn't do it correctly when you click this connect button. So what this is doing is creating a link between our OBS and Whatnot. They are two separate apps, and we got to get them to communicate together. So in order to do that, they have built this functionality for us to make it super easy. So right down here where the connect button is, when you are ready and you have all of your settings saved up in your OBS the way they want it to under your WebSocket and your settings for streaming, then you can go to this and click connect. When we click connect, there's going to be some bubbles that pop up here that just say you are now connected. There we go, connected to OBS, and it identified our OBS. So that means they are now connected together. And you can see on here, we are on the main scene. So when we go back here, we are on our main scene. They are connected. You do not need to click any of these things over here, so don't be confused by them. We will cover that in a troubleshooting later. If your stream ever crashes, all you need to do is open OBS back up and click Start Stream. What has happened is there is now a link between our OBS and Whatnot. We're not going to lose that link unless we shut down our computer or end our stream. So don't worry, if you crash your stream, there's a quick way to jump right back into it. So now that we're connected on here, we see our show that we just set up, our test show. So we've clicked Start Show. It takes a second. It tells you all of these things are happening right here, saying you started your show, OBS is communicating, we've got the right token, they're communicating together. So you are now live. It doesn't look like you're live, but you are. So click this right here, and this is where that second monitor comes in handy. So remember how we talked about in the first video about how we oriented our monitors? So a little bit in the first and second video. We have two monitors next to each other. So what we do is we take this monitor right here, or this page, and we drag it across to our other monitor so that it will show up in this exact orientation for you on a monitor that is set up vertically. That way you can read your chat and be able to respond to things through there. So now you can see Keegan up there. This is your test stream. This is your opportunity to test out all of your buttons, test out your different sound effects, and make sure everything is working the way that it should be. So here's some of our motion graphics. As you can see, our camera is all set up. Keegan's showing off some different things here, but it allows you to practice all of the things that you would like to practice. Once you're done with that, you're going to go back to your Whatnot page. This is very important. We run our stream on an iPad. So all of our auctions are run through iPad. If we're going to do flash sales, we're going to do giveaways, it's all run through the iPad. So make sure that your streamers know at the end of your stream, it is no different than you normally would. Raid somebody if you raid, or end your show there. But then there's an added step to it. This is still going to be broadcasting. So we need to make sure whenever we're done with our stream, we click this button right here. End and stop OBS. This will end our show, and it will stop the link between our OBS and Whatnot. So even though you raided into another stream and you think your show is done, make sure you come back and click this button, or it is going to seem like you are still live. Your live feed will not be on anymore, but until you click this, it's going to look like you are live. So make sure you click that button. Says, are you sure? Yes, we're sure. That ends that stream, tells you that we stopped it. OBS stopped streaming. We ended our show. If you're ever in a position where you need to restart a stream, you messed something up, you had some sort of error where you had to end your show and then restart it, Whatnot allows you to start your show up to 2 hours after that. If you need to do that, you go into shows and click this button right next to whatever show you want to restart. Again, this gives you the option to do this for up to 2 hours afterwards. So let's say you're practicing around on your test stream and then you get done thinking, okay, I've got it all figured out. And then an hour later, you're like, oh shoot, I forgot to practice this. This is a great opportunity. Let's restart the show. We go back into our show tools. Sometimes this will populate right away. Sometimes you got to refresh it. And here we are again. We go back through the same steps. We want to connect. We're back connected. We can start our show back up again. So hopefully that walks you through this side of it a little bit more. I know that this is where a lot of confusion comes from, so we want to make sure that we covered this well. So setting up a show is really easy in the shows. Create your show, set it up as a test, make sure it's private, then only you are going to be able to see it unless you share the link with somebody else. Show tools is where all of the connection happens between OBS and Whatnot. They make it very straightforward and easy. Make sure you follow all these steps ahead of time. This is a one-time deal here. When you come in for the first time, you want to follow all these directions. These are all settings that you're going to need in OBS. If you've got any questions about these that we did not cover, please put a comment in the video and we will make a new video diving into whatever your question is a little bit further. But all of these are very straightforward. They're all settings within OBS that you need to adjust prior to connecting. Then all you need to do is make sure that you connect ahead of time and start your show. When you're done, you end your show on here. That's about all you need to do on the Whatnot side. Everything else will be taken care of through your stream deck that we set up together, and any fine-tuning adjustments can be made in the audio mixer here that we talked about. All right, if you made it this far, thank you for taking the time to watch our videos. Again, if you haven't seen part 1 and 2, make sure you check those out. But hopefully part 3 helped you to understand how to set up your OBS system and how to get it connected with Whatnot. We really appreciate you guys' support. Again, if there are any pieces or components of this process that you don't know or would like to have for yourself, all the links are going to be down below. We're not sponsored by any of those companies. We don't get a kickback from any of those companies. However, if you click through those links and purchase through Amazon, which is where all of those are linked through, we do get a kickback from that, and we appreciate your guys' support. If you haven't already, make sure you like and follow us and give us a follow on Whatnot as well. We really appreciate your guys' support. If you've got any questions about any of the videos or this one in particular, leave a comment down below or send us a message and we'll create some more follow-up videos. We're also going to create some other videos of Whatnot tutorials and things that we've kind of gone through in our journey so far. So if you've got any questions about Whatnot in general, make sure to leave a comment. We appreciate you guys. Thank you for your time.
Perfect.